Greetings, family. Welcome to Tony Barber Shop that's in Seven Sisters Market. As you know, that the barber shop is a place where we come together and we reason as man and man. And we're here because we have a great man in our midst, and you know, it's a pleasure that we have a great man, Duamutef, who's a man who's a teacher, he's a lecturer, he's one of my closest friends, and he's your close friend when we get to know him. And it's someone who's making an impact in the community. I think I said that again. He's making an impact in the community. And the man is a true visionary. He's in the line of Honorable Garvey, Malcolm X, and those great heroes who sent us a prophet among us, you know. And it gives me great pleasure that he's able to share, you know, his journey, his vision, his knowledge among us. Welcome to Duamutef among us. Thank you, my brother.
Greetings, Doug. How you doing, sir?
Love, my brother. It's love. It's love to have you among us, you know.
Thank you for inviting me.
That's fantastic. My brother, I wonder if you can just share us and where the journey will start from you, my brother.
The journey. Okay, the journey really started for me about 13, 14 years ago. I was, say, about 27, 28.
Right.
And then I was taking a look at what was really happening, not just in our community, but really in the world around us.
Okay.
And I was always somebody who was seeking and searching for information, knowledge, you know, because I was brought up that we should learn something new every day.
Okay.
Yeah, and consequently in this journey I've learned, yeah, well, we seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave. There's things we're not going to learn until we're on our deathbed, without sounding morbid, but that's the truth.
Okay.
Right? But that was basically where the journey really started for me. I reached to at the age of about 27, and sort of in our life, in my life, people have always seen me as somewhat of someone who sets trends, or a trendsetter as such. You know, I was always seen as one of those who's be able to knock on doors and get them opened, and maybe do things sometimes what our race may seem, because of things like racism, yeah, because of discrimination, yeah, not just discrimination based on colour, but there's discrimination based on age, based on mobility, ability, disability, etc, etc, etc. We was always someone fortunate enough to be able to maybe go to that next stage, and people see that and say, well, things are possible, all things are possible, yeah, because I was always brought up by my mother as well, where she always tried to instill within us that all things are possible.
All things are possible. Yeah. So you had a kind of a still in certain kind of pride and certain kind of possibility in the mind.
Well,
in the mind.
What it did for me was to make me realize from a very early age that you can do anything and be anything when you put your mind to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
In other words, what my mum was trying to instill within me: don't allow anything or anyone to hold you back.
Right.
All right. And as our parents often brought us up by saying to us, we have to work maybe twice as hard or 3 times as hard as others as we saw them do. Yeah. So I think that was her way of trying to instill that within ourselves.
Well, let me just say something there, because I know you've got a vast knowledge or information on certain subjects like politics, religion, you know, health. How do you find the time? What do you do? Do you read a lot of books? How do you get that information? How do you find the information in, my brother?
Like I said, once again, a lot of it's to do with our upbringing. I mean, as a child growing up, I can remember being like 7, 8, and in my household, it was about being able to stack up those library books. And when I say stack up those library books, when you originally joined the library, they give you 1 book. If you finished that book or went through that book, then you was allowed to get 2 books. Right. And if you finished it, then you was allowed to get 3 books. Right. All right. So that was originally the competition in our. Well, how many books could we get from the library?
Okay.
Right? And I managed to get to the maximum, which was 5. Okay, so at any one time. So as a child growing up, reading was something that wasn't forced upon me, but we was encouraged to learn to enjoy.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the difference? Yeah.
There's a difference,
yeah.
you know, where some have to be disciplined in order to read or to do any form of what parents would term schoolwork or etc. For us in our household, it was actually more of a joy because there were rewards to be gained, yeah, from reading books. You know what I mean? I.e. your favourite sweeties, a little toy here or there, some extra pocket money, etc. You know, so these little incentives, yeah, were always put into the equation of our education when we were growing up. We were fortunate enough to be, and it wasn't just coming from my mother. It was also coming from my godmother, my uncles, my aunties, etc., etc., etc. I mean, my nothing used to give my uncle, my late great uncle, God bless him, greater pleasure, yeah, than to see me reading, yeah. And he just used to look at me and say, yeah, you're going to be the clever one, because he just used to see me as a child. I mean, I had all the toys, and when the computer games were coming, what everybody else had, but I just enjoyed reading, yeah. And I recognise as the older I've got, we've been very fortunate, yeah, to be able to say that, you know, because a lot of people wouldn't count reading as one of their joys or as one of their passions.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite interesting because I think one thing we need to do is look at reading, because a lot of people associate reading with pain. You know, if you understand, yeah, and you made a point, I've never really clicked to me that if you associate reading as a pleasure, as enjoyment, you know, as fun, you know, you get more out of it.
That's correct.
You see
That's
what I'm
correct.
saying? So,
I mean, it's always best to start. I mean, your parents, I mean, they try to get you to read what the school curriculum has in the terms of English literature. Yeah, but it's always best if you want to get into reading, read what you're interested about.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the best place to start.
Best place to start. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And then from there,
yeah,
you will grow. Not only that as well. I mean, a lot of us put a lot of emphasis on working out in the gym.
Right.
Yeah. Now, how do you work out your mind? How do you work out your brain? Because your brain has muscles. Yeah. Your mind needs to be invigorated, needs to be inspired. Yeah. So how do you train these things? How do you work these things out? Yeah. And the training for the mind is reading. Training for the mind is solving puzzles, is doing quizzes, do you know what I mean, is learning something new, yeah. Just as if I'm lecturing and I like it, just as you like to go to the gym to make your chest look big or to make your arms look really muscly, yeah, in order to make sure that your mind is constantly growing and those muscles are constantly working in your brain, reading's the gym.
Reading, okay then. I want to focus on what's happening in London in terms of look at the future of London, or what's your perspective in terms of what you'd like to see in London from a, you know, just keep it local here.
Well, we can do London. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll touch on local issues as well, but I mean, London's a great city, one of the major cities of the world. Yeah. London has so much talent, and the problem you normally find, or I normally find going out there, is that that talent doesn't necessarily have all the opportunities to express itself. Yeah. Sorry, my phone's going off in the background there. All right, and not only doesn't that talent necessarily have the opportunity to express itself, also in the thinking of our major corporations, companies, institutions is very rigid.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't think outside of the box.
Okay.
Yeah, and in doing so, there's an awful lot of talent in London, north, south, east, and west, that basically doesn't get utilised.